afternoon everyone. I really hope you all doing great and staying absolutely safe as well. उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब बहुत शानदार होंगे बेटे. Please do let me know in the comment section if I'm clearly audible to all the people out there. I really hope I'm clearly audible and visible to you all. If yes, please do let me know in the comment section. Now, first of all, I would like to welcome you to this platform IAS Origin. And secondly, this is a kind of a topic which is very much important. Why? Because this is the topic which is going to tell you that how exactly do you approach, whenever there's a question in the examination, how in the first place are you going to be approaching that? It's very much important. So ye dhyan mein rakhega, always keep this very thing in your mind that you have to be very much solution oriented. And ultimately, there are some topics which are, often you'll see they are being repeated again and again. This is one of that topic. It is one of a such topic which you have to understand. It's a very important topic, in fact, very important topic from the exam point of view, that is planning in India. What's the topic's name? Planning in India. Now, what sort of planning are we talking about? Anybody who can tell me? In this class, what exactly is the kind of the planning we are in the first place talking about? We are talking about the economic planning which certainly took place in India, and precisely it's a very important topic because a lot of times we see direct questions being asked from this topic. We have seen that in the past that direct questions are being asked from this topic, and that is what makes this topic so much important, as simple as that. So we have to make sure that whenever any question from this topic comes, we are able to solve that, we are able to answer that. Got it? So how many of you are aware of economic planning? There used to be a planning commission. There was a planning commission. It was a proper body which was there in our country, and it was replaced later on by NITI Aayog. Now we have NITI Aayog since 2015. In 2015, planning commission was replaced by NITI Aayog. Heard of that? So in a way, my idea is to take you there, my idea is to take a discussion there, because this is certainly, going to be very much important discussion in every which manner. This is the kind of discussion which is going to give you a proper clarity on this. Second thing is that you have to be very clear, what are the kind of the questions which are going to be asked. We'll try to focus on that as well, what all questions can be asked from this very topic. So this session is going to be fruitful, no doubt about that. And in the end of the session, towards the end of the session, you are going to be learning immensely from that particular aspect. So I hope, till here, the premise is very, very clear to you guys. The premise, the basis, that what exactly is going to be there in the class, you are absolutely clear about that. I am Akash and Dev, and I am hopeful that you all are going to gain immensely from this particular session. Okay, so this is not going to be a random session. It's going to be a very fruitful session, as in it's going to be very much interactive session, I would say. Interactive session. I would want you guys to be participating. You can share your thoughts, you can share your doubts. Any doubts in case you guys have, you are free to ask that. That's all I can do, right? So any particular doubt you guys have, you are more than welcome to ask the doubt, so that you can be clearing that there and then. Don't take it back to your homes, though you're sitting in a home only. By the time this class ends, you should be in a position to, know the nuances which we have taught in the class or which we have discussed in the class. That is what the idea is. Before I even move ahead with the session, make sure you all hit the like button and add this session to your liked videos. I'll tell you what. So when you hit the like button, this video go to your liked videos, and later on you can use this same video for the revision purpose. You can use this for your revision purpose. So make sure all the people who have joined me live in the session are hitting the like button and adding this video to your liked videos. All the people out there. Okay? Then certainly we'll be moving ahead. Okay. So first of all, it's really heartening to see so many, young aspirants there in the class, so that, we can learn this very topic. Before I even start the session, I'm sure about one thing, that you guys are aware that how important this session is. Very important topic. So it's very important for us to, set a premise. I'll be giving you the PDF also. Don't worry about that. PDF आपको यहाँ पे मिल जाएगा. First of all, we have to understand one simple aspect, that there's a very important book we need to know about. Have you ever heard about this book? Can you barely read this? What's written here? It's called Planned Economy for India. The book, which goes by the name Planned Economy for India, it was written way back in 1930s, around 1934, around 100 years back. This very book was written. Who wrote this book? It was written by M. Visvesvaraya. On his birthday, we still celebrate, we still observe in India Engineers Day. You know that? India mein, we observe Engineers Day. So we observe it on whose birthday? On his birthday every year we are observing that. So certainly he was a great fellow. He was a great legend. He was a great personality. So you got to understand this thing, that whenever we talk about the M. Visvesvaraya, he wrote this very book in 1934. And the book's title says Planned Economy for India. So the great personality M. Visvesvaraya talked about the concept of the economy in a very much modern sense. In a very modern sense, he is putting that concept of economy in front of all the people out there. So yeah, that is one simple aspect which we are supposed to be knowing, which we are supposed to be understanding. I hope you understand, right? So what is my idea? My idea is that we are supposed to have a basic understanding that what he is saying regarding planning. See, planning can have various connotations. Planning can have multiple meanings, but what was planning according to him, we need to know that. Getting it? What according to him, he meant the planning, we need to know about his perspective also. Around 100 years back we are talking about. So we need to be very much aware that what according to him was the planning. So we have to understand that in this very book, what is being done. In 1934 he wrote the Planned Economy for India. It's a very nice book by M. Visvesvaraya. And we have to understand, he is talking about a plan of a decade. He's talking about a 10 years plan. And in the 10 years, he said that we will be doubling the national income. We are going to be doubling the national income, which was very much ambitious, no doubt. This plan is no doubt very much insightful, very much ambitious plan this is, without any doubt. We can say that without iota of doubt I can say it's a super ambitious plan which is being talked about by M. Visvesvaraya. Certainly it is. But then the biggest problem is that we were as in India was under the British rule. Agree? Since India was under the British rule, so no doubt, we have got a great plan in place. He's talking about how we can shift our labor from the agriculture to industries. It's a great insight he's giving. But the problem is that we were not able to execute because we were under the British. So you got to understand this thing. There was no follow-up from the British on this plan. And whatever he said was surely acting as a guiding light for the future plans. No doubt about that. For all the future plans, we can certainly say that this plan has acted like a guiding light. So, which is a great thing. Guiding light is also very much important. Are you understanding this point? So, ultimately, what my idea is that we have to be very much clear about these things, because you are, going to be answering any question for that matter. You need to have the basic clarity. Anyways, when we move ahead, so we certainly should know about M. Visvesvaraya. That's a great personality. He was also awarded Bharat Ratna for the work he's done in the engineering field, for the work he's done in various fields. He was a great scholar. He has been awarded Bharat Ratna also. So he wrote this book. Anyway, so even before, the planning commission was there, we have had all these things. So planning commission came in 1950, but before 1950, what we have? Of course, we were under the British rule, but still there were a lot of talks about the planning. There were a lot of talks on the planning, going on in length and breadth of this country, which we are supposed to be clear about. Is that clear? So I am hopeful, you're understanding these points. Having said that, what we observe is in 1938, in India, we have a National Planning Committee formed. What do we have? National Planning Committee. Now, what is there in the National Planning Committee? That's quite interesting. What exactly is National Planning Committee all about? So you got to understand, these two youth, Yuva leaders, young leaders, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So National Planning Committee is the brainchild of these two great personalities. Basically, what we see, the Haripura session of the Congress, here the idea was mooted by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was made the chairman of National Planning Committee. This was a great committee, no doubt. So you have to understand this thing, that Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is advocating the idea of economic development of the country through planning. Now, anybody can guess from where the ideas were coming? Anybody who can guess that this idea was coming from where? What do you think? Socho? From somewhere we were getting the idea, right? From where do we get these ideas? That's my question. Okay, let me tell you this thing. We were being inspired from, now what is Russia? At that time it was USSR, which is also known as Soviet Union. So from Soviet Union bede, we were being inspired. Remember this thing. We were being inspired from the Soviet Union, the great Soviet Union. So you have to understand this thing, that Soviets say we were getting this idea, and ultimately you have to be very much clear that this particular idea was, being talked about, and in the National Planning Committee also they were talking about that. But what was the problem? It was in September 1939, we saw the World War broke out, World War II, Vishwa Yuddha. When the World War is breaking out, what will happen? Tell me. Ultimately, everybody is going to be, diverting their focus towards the World War. Nobody was talking about this National Planning Committee. This is one thing we have to understand. All right. So my idea is that in India, across the length and breadth of India, we have seen the ideas planning. You can take the screenshot as well. If you want, you can take the screenshot as well. Otherwise, I'll be sharing this thing to you. I'll be sharing the PDF with you. Don't worry. Towards the end, I'll tell you the Telegram channel. We can share the PDF. But as of now, what is more important is make running notes as well. Okay, running notes are very much important for this topic. I hope it's clear, everyone. So till here, can I assume that whatever we have discussed, you have picked it up? Everyone, samajh itna to aa hi gaya hoga, whatever we have talked about? That should be absolutely clear to you guys. Fine. Now moving ahead, what is more important is, then we see, Bombay plan is coming. Now what is Bombay plan? Let's talk about what in the first place is Bombay plan all about. It's very interesting plan, by the way. When I say Bombay plan, so, you got to be very much clear about this thing, that Bombay plan, as the name suggests, we have group of industrialists who are active in Bombay, and they are coming up with the idea of Bombay plan. This much is very much clear, right? Who is coming up with the idea of the Bombay plan? In Bombay, we have a lot of industrialists at that time, and they are mooting this particular plan, which is known as Bombay plan. Now the point is, what is Bombay plan all about? What in the first place is Bombay plan talking about? We got to understand. So let me tell you that Bombay plan ke piche, the brainchild is Purushottam Das Thakur Das, this person, in 1944. And they are preparing the draft of Bombay plan. Clear? Now when I say Bombay plan, what is more important is, they are talking about, again, different things, but they are talking about doubling the output of agriculture sector. That whatever is the output of the agriculture sector, we are going to certainly double that. Now that is again a very ambitious target. And they are talking about 5-fold growth in the industrial sector in the next 5 years. So basically this plan, again, I'm not saying that it was implemented, because again we were under the British rule. But they are again talking of the planning. So they are focusing on what? They are focusing on that government has to support. We need the support and regulations by the government in order to have a proper growth. So you got to understand that officially this plan was never accepted, but the ideas were seen in the future planning which we'll see in the country. All the future planning which we have seen in our country, we saw the principles of Bombay plan being followed, which is a great thing actually. So you have to be very clear about this thing, that Bombay plan, though in practical sense it's great, but we have not officially taken it up. We have just focus on the nuances which we need to be understanding very, very precisely. I'm hopeful that you are able to pick the things which we are talking about. They are certainly very much important. But simple and straightforward points these are, but we have to be understanding these points. So now, before we move to the planning commission, what is more important is we need to know about some plans, not in too much detail, but you need to have a basic idea of those, like Bombay plan we have talked about, right? So what I'll do is I'll just try to summarize things for you, which is going to be easy for you. For example, we have talked about the Bombay plan. All right. So it was Purushottam Thakurdas. We have talked about that. We don't need to repeat that. Now I want to talk about a plan which is known as People's Plan. What it is? People's Plan. It is by whom? There was a communist leader. There was a communist leader. You must have heard about M.N. Roy. So M.N. Roy, who was a communist leader, he is coming up with this idea of what? This particular plan. Again, this is quite important. It was from 1944 again. Bombay Plan 1944. This is also from 1944. Very much important. So this plan is based on what? It plan is based on Marxist socialism. Marxist socialism. Now, what do you mean by that? Ultimately, we are talking about, resources have to be collectively owned, talking about the welfare of the people, very much welfare oriented plan. So you have to answer this thing that they are talking of what? They are basically talking of the nationalization of production, agriculture, everything. So they are talking of the nationalization. What is nationalization? That government is going to be owning that. Government in the first place is going to be owning that. So that is what the nationalization means. So Marxist socialism is based on that principle only. Marxist socialism is very much based on that idea only. So this is what they are talking about. We need to be understanding that. I hope it's clear. So when I talk about this particular plan, I hope the idea is absolutely clear to you guys. Can we talk about the next one? Now next one I want to talk about, it's the Gandhian plan. It is the Gandhian plan. Now this is again a very important plan. It was from 1944 only, but it was prepared by Professor S.N. Agarwal. S.N. Agarwal, Professor S.N. Agarwal is coming up with the Gandhian plan. Now why do we call it a Gandhian plan? Because S.N. Agarwal was a Gandhian. He was a Gandhian. Now what is Gandhian? When we talk about Gandhian, it means following the Gandhian philosophy. Now what is Gandhian philosophy? Gandhian philosophy is the philosophy of Sarvodaya. It is the philosophy of Gram Swaraj. Gram Swaraj means what? That village are very much important units. That's one thing. Secondly, we have to understand that at the village level, what are we supposed to do? We have to make the village very much self-sufficient. Villages have to be very much self-sufficient. This is very much important. Getting it? So ultimately, this idea is basically mooted over here, which is quite important. So remember this thing, these are the things which may seem to be very much basic, but these are some ideas which we have to be understanding, which we have to be looking at precisely, and they are certainly going to be of immense importance for you guys. At times, match the following question comes. Then a problem comes that how do we focus on that. One more plan I would like to talk about, and that is known as the Sarvodaya plan. Which plan? Sarvodaya plan we talk about. Any idea who came up with this? It was Jayaprakash Narayan. JP, Jayaprakash Narayan is the person who is coming up with this plan. Though it was around 1950, 1949, 50. We have seen that. Again, this is very much based on what? It is on the Gandhian philosophy only. Self-reliance, agriculture, cottage industries. So both these plans are focusing on what? Self-reliance and what? Cottage industries, small industries, agriculture, village self-sufficiency, Gram Swaraj. All these concepts are interrelated. You know these things. All these concepts are very much interrelated with each other. So when I talk about Gram Swaraj, when I talk about self-sufficiency, when I talk about agriculture, when I talk about cottage industry, small industry, we are talking about pushing what? We are talking about pushing, what is the bottommost strata of the society. It need to be empowered. We're talking about empowering the bottommost strata of society so that we can see inclusive growth and development. We are not seeing that one-sided or, very much lopsided growth is happening. We need to have a proper holistic growth which need to take place. That is what the idea is. So I hope you guys are understanding. Matlab, see, what I want is everybody in the class has to be understanding whatever we are studying. That is the main goal of the class. That is the main idea of this very class. So if you guys are all understanding, this means we are on the right track. Thank you, Raju. Thank you so much. It means a lot, bete. Thank you, Kumar Chand. Okay, everyone. So now, we have seen plenty of the plans, Bombay plan, People's plan, Gandhian plan, Sarvodaya plan. Who came up with the plan we've talked about? Bombay plan mein Purushottam Das Thakur Das, People plan, M.N. Roy, Gandhian plan, S.N. Agarwal, and Sarvodaya plan, J.P. Narayan. Okay, I need to give you an overview so that we can talk about the main topic now. Okay, now having said that, what is now main, idea? Let's talk about this thing. I would like to talk about K.C. Niyogi. Very important person he is to be talked about. A lot of people unfortunately are unaware of who K.C. Niyogi was. Let's talk about him. Got it? Thank you, Nani Mikala. We got to understand, when I talk about this person, he was the head of Advisory Planning Board in 1946. Of course, it was under the British, no doubt about that, but it was a great position, very important position. So his report on planning and development formed a very base of how Constituent Assembly decided on the power of union and state government. That is one thing. But ultimately, his report gave a very base, gave the very foundation to the formation of Planning Commission. So his 1946 report gave the foundation to the formation of Planning Commission, which we saw finally was formed in 1950. So no doubt Planning Commission was formed in 1950, but which report gave it the very basis? It was the report by K.C. Niyogi. So this is important. So remember this thing, we got independence, which was a great time, of course. And after independence, we have the Economic Program Committee formed. This is a bit factual, but it is important. We have the Economic Program Committee formed, EPC. And in 1948, this committee recommended formation of Planning Commission that was finally formed in 1950. So finally, we have the Planning Commission which was formed in 1950, no doubt about that. But you have to be understanding, Planning Commission's base, it was the recommendation of Economic Program Committee and which was based on the report of K.C. Niyogi. So it is a link by link by link. K.C. Niyogi report 1946, Economic Program Committee, and then finally 1950 Planning Commission is being formed. You have to be very much clear in this regards. Samajh aa raha hai? Matlab, these are very basic things, no doubt. And you have to be, having this basis in your mind. That is the only thing. Thank you, Vinayak Ojha. Thank you, Manav Shukla. Thank you so much. It is, see, you guys support this session so much. That's why we bring regular sessions to you guys, so that you can have a proper clarity in your minds. That is what the idea is, right? Having said that, now you got to understand one thing. National Development Council, we need to talk about. NDC. NDC, that is the National Development Council. Now, this body was formed in 1952, but what was the need of this body? That is a good question. That why in the first place we need this body, NDC? We have formed Planning Commission in 1950, right? See, NDC was needed because it was the apex body and it was used to give the final approval to the 5-year plans prepared by the Planning Commission. I'll repeat, please try to understand. Planning Commission's job is what? Planning Commission is going to prepare 5-year plan. It will prepare 5-year plan, very nice. And that 5-year plan is going to get the final approval by the National Development Council, that is NDC. I hope the idea is clear. Clear hai ki nahi? So idea is very much simple, that Planning Commission is going to prepare 5-year plan and that 5-year plan is going to get approval from the NDC, as simple as that. So this is how the function was going on till 2015. We have seen the process being going on like this. So you have to understand this thing, that how many 5-year plans we have seen in India? Any guesses? In India, how many 5-year plans have we seen? I would like to have an interactive class, right? Kumar Chandan कह रहे 12. Anybody else? Anybody who would like to add to this? हाँ जी, जय हिंद जी ग्रुप जी, जय हिंद. राजू कह रहे 12. Very good. Any other guesses? वैसे guesses नहीं है, सही जवाब है. You all are on the right track बेटे. We have had 12 5-year plans till date. So 12 5-year plans we have got. I'll certainly be showing you, in our perspective. Have a look at this. So what do we observe? I'll be teaching all the plans in detail, don't worry. Today we'll go till here, okay? And then in the next class, which will be day after tomorrow, we'll be going till 2070. So this is very good, Mr. Dev, Amiyo Dev, that's great. So in a way, I need to tell you, very good, Nani Mikala, good job. Chalo, I've got the answer, good to go. Hanji, Satya Sai, very good, thank you. Chalo, I'm glad that people are aware. So, maza aayega padha ke. So, first 5-year plan, if we talk about, it was in 1951 to 56. Very nice plan. We'll talk about in detail what were the focus areas, what was the priority. Then, again, we have 1950-61, second 5-year plan, 61 to 60, third 5-year plan. Unfortunately, we had to discontinue this process for 3 years because of various crisis situations. Wars and droughts were there in the country. So, from 66 to 69, we have taken a break. We have had annual plans. And then again, we resumed the process. And when we resumed the process, it was 69 to 74, 74 to 79, we were supposed to have, but unfortunately, we have government change. So, Janata Party came and discontinued this process. So, again, 79 to 80, we have annual plans. Then Indira Gandhi came back to power. It was in 1980, and then we have 6th plan, 7th plan. Then, of course, we have some crisis at economic level, and we have break. And then we have in continuity the 8th plan, 9th plan, 10th plan, 11th plan, and finally 12th plan we have. Why we have no plan in future next to that? Because in 2015, the present government, when they came, they have done what? Planning Commission was scrapped and we have NITI Aayog. So NITI Aayog came in the January 2015 and we have replacement of the Planning Commission. So no 5-year plan we have now. We have now no 5-year plan. So till 12th 5-year plan, we had 5-year planning, but now we are having no 5-year plans. This is a very basic point we have to understand. Simple and straightforward. I hope you're understanding. This is just the overview. This is just the overview. In crux, I'm telling you, we'll be talking in detail. So you to know, we have taken 3 breaks in this period, in this long period, and of course, there were valid reasons for these breaks. Otherwise, we have always followed the 5-year planning structure. In India, we have always followed the 5-year planning, the structure. This is important. For all the people who have joined me, make sure you all add this video to your liked videos. Add this video to your liked videos so that you can watch it later on as well. So make sure you are adding this particular video to your liked videos, all the people out there. हाँ जी, समझ आ रहा है बेटे इतना? Thank you Vinayak, thank you so much बेटे. So ultimately, see, my idea is very simple. You have to understand each and everything which you study in the class. That is the main point. Thank you Kumar, thank you so much. Okay, let's start this then. Would like to talk about the very first plan, first 5-year plan, that was from 1951 to 56. We'll start with the first 5-year plan. Simple. Now, whenever I talk about the first 5-year plan, what need to be keeping in your mind? Badao, it's a very first 5-year plan. We didn't have high hopes, but we have a lot of struggle at that time because we were supposed to reconstruct the economy. We have faced, especially the northern part of India, eastern part of India, had faced the brunt of partition, effect of the partition. Pakistan was formed, West Pakistan, East Pakistan, Bangladesh, jo hai aaj, it was East Pakistan, it was formed. A lot of migration happened, a lot of refugee crisis happened. So we need to build the roads, irrigation facilities. So I would like to tell you one thing. What is more important is you got to know that first 5-year plan was, when we talk about preparation of the draft, we see a very young economist, he's 25 years old roughly. He is K.N. Raj. Have you heard about this personality? Great personality. So ultimately, draft of this plan is prepared by the K.N. Raj. A young economist of India, K.N. Raj is the one who is preparing. So this can be a question in your exam. So you are supposed to know that how important this particular personality is. I'm talking about K.N. Raj. And secondly, you got to understand that this plan, that first 5-year plan is based on what? This particular plan is based on Harrod-Domar model. Now, what is this model? We'll talk about that. This plan is based on Harrod-Domar model. Very important this is. Hello, Mr. Yadav. Good morning. So, this particular plan based on Harrod-Domar model is focusing on what? Our main focus of the plan is the primary sector, mainly agriculture. And with agriculture, we have to do irrigation also. Irrigation. We have to water the crops also. So, irrigation is important. So, we are focusing on what? We are focusing on roads, no doubt about that. But at the same time, we are focusing on the irrigation facilities also. So, let me tell you one thing. The target growth rate was only 2.1%. We were focusing on 2.1% target. But we achieved 3.6%, which was a great success. Because we didn't expect that. We were expecting 2.1, we got 3.6, which is great. Roughly twice of the growth. So, always remember one thing, that whenever we talk about the first 5-year plan, our main focus is on the agriculture and the irrigation part. That's the main idea. So, this is something we have to always look into, we have to always understand that how in the first place, the first 5-year plan is focusing on agriculture and irrigation and is based on this great Harrod-Domar model. This question comes. In Match the Following, you will find this question that which plan was based on Harrod-Domar model. Or you can get this ways that first 5-year plan was based on which model. Or you can get this ways, that first 5-year plan is focusing on what. So, you need to be very much clear about that. And K.N. Raj, I have told you that he's a young economist who is preparing the draft of the plan. This is certainly important. Alright. So, I am sure about one thing that till here, no doubt is there. Everybody is 100% clear on the facts we are talking about. Moving ahead. Now, remember, this is just to remember what we have studied till now. So, 3.6% growth rate we are achieving, which is great. And we are focusing on agriculture, price stability, basic things. And it is based on Harrod-Domar model. See, chalo. Now, understanding one second thing is that when we talk about the second 5-year plan, we are seeing a great shift happening. 56 to 61. What is the great shift we are looking into? That is quite important. Now, let me tell you one thing. When we talk about this plan, we talk about name, that is Mahalanobis. So, you can say, Mahalanobis model is being followed in the second 5-year plan. We are seeing a shift. We are seeing a shift, and ultimately that shift is so much important in a way that from agriculture to industry we are focusing. So, now what is the focus? The industrialization of the country is focus. We are focusing on the power projects, steel plants, Durgapur, Raurkela, Bhilai, steel plants are being, established. We are focusing on import substitution, that we need to reduce the imports, we need to increase the production, all these things we are focusing upon. In fact, in 1958, Atomic Energy Commission was also established during this plan, which is again important. Getting it? So, always remember one thing, that ultimately target rate was 4.5%, but we were able to achieve the 4.2%, which is again great. Not a bad growth at all. So, it has to be clear to you guys that what is Mahalanobis model. So, I'll just try to show you a comparison. Have a look at this. It's a very interesting comparison. What does this suggest? This red one is 5-year plan. Okay. So, have a look at this. In first 5-year plan, you can see agriculture is more, and in second it is dropping. Irrigation and flood control is high. In second plan it is dropping. And similarly, transport and communication, we are focusing more in the second 5-year plan. Is that clear? So, can you see industry and mining, first 5-year plan mate is less focus, second 5-year plan mate is more focus. Are you understanding? So, here you can see, less focus on agriculture, less focus on irrigation, but more focus on industry, more focus on transport and communication. So, it's very much clear. So, when you see the allocations of first and second 5-year plan and you compare them, you are getting the answer. Is this easy to recall? Is it easy to remember? So what I'm simply saying is that you have to understand that when we talk about agriculture, it is more given more focus in the first 5-year plan, and then we are shifting our focus. So you always need to understand that second 5-year plan, which was prepared by PC Mahalanobis, he was a great statistician. He used to play with data, and he is the person who is giving the Mahalanobis model for the second 5-year plan. And what is the idea? We have already talked about that. What exactly is the shift we are looking at? We have already talked about. I hope it's absolutely clear, all of you. So, what I feel is that if you have studied this topic nicely in the exam, you will be able to answer easily. Very easily you will be able to answer. And this is the main idea, right? Yahi idea hai. Thank you, Raju. So, remember this thing that PC Mahalanobis is planning, and we are focusing on the heavy and the basic industries. Easy. Moving ahead, now I talk about the third 5-year plan. Now talk about the third 5-year plan, 1961 to 66. When I talk about the third 5-year plan, you need to focus on some very basic aspects, which I'm sure you will be able to understand once I give you an idea. Have you heard about the Gut-Gill formula? So whenever I talk about this Gut-Gill formula, it's certainly important. So we will be talking in that aspect only, because ultimately that is of immense importance. I am basically talking about the Gut-Gill formula. So ये थोड़ी सी मैं बात करना चाहूँगा. When I talk about the Gut-Gill formula, we have got Mr. Gut-Gill, who is the main person behind this particular plan, and he is the person who is focusing on that idea. So that's why we also talk about his name whenever we talk about this. So remember this thing, that whenever I'm talking of the third 5-year plan, we have to understand that Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission is Dr. Gut-Gill. So Dr. Gut-Gill is the Deputy Chairman of the Planning Commission. He is a very important name. So that is why in this very plan, when we talk about this very plan, we say that it is Gut-Gill plan. We call this the Gut-Gill's plan. So it's just a basic fact which you need to understand. You never know when a question comes, so it will be a bit of a problem. So that's important. So what is the target growth? Target growth is 5.6%. But what was the achievement? It was around 2.4% we were able to achieve. So this was quite less as compared to what the target was. Now, any idea what happened other than the drought? Is there anything which happened? Think about it. We have a war with China. So India is having a war with China. When did it happen? Any guesses? 1962 war. Similarly, India also had a war with Pakistan, and that was the 1965 ki war. Remember. So you got to understand one thing, that India-China war and India-Pakistan war, they are both very much important. And when we talk about the Dr. Gut-Gill, he is giving the Gut-Gill plan, and basically it is for the self-sustaining growth in the economy. However, we were not able to achieve that because of a lot of repercussions, drought and India-Pakistan, India-China war. In fact, this was a very tough time for the country. If you remember, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also passed away. Our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, passed away in 1964, and we have a change of leadership. Lal Bahadur Shastri, though he was very much efficient, but we have a change of leadership happening in 1964. So this plan was marred with a lot of crisis, no doubt about that. Well, there is a lot of crisis happening, and we have to be focusing on that aspect as well. So I hope this idea is very much clear. When you talk about the third 5-year plan, you know that a lot of crisis is happening, but we have to be very much clear about the Gut-Gill formula, and actual growth, remember, has been 2.4%, and remember, it is Gut-Gill formula we are following here. Gut-Gill plan, Gut-Gill formula. So now first plan prepared by K.N. Raj, and there will be a Harry-Dumar model. Second plan, Mahalanobis model. Third plan, Gut-Gill formula. As simple as that. I've already talked about China war, Pakistan war, drought. So a lot of fronts pe India is battling. Though our focus is self-reliant and self-generating growth, but we were not able to achieve much growth in this plan, unfortunately. Now, you have to understand this thing, that after this very plan, what will happen? We will have a plan holiday. Now, what is plan holiday? Plan holiday basically means that we are now not doing anything. We are basically staying on course for the launch of the next plan, but after some time. We thought this thing that we are not going to immediately launch any plan. We will wait for some time and then we'll launch the plan. This is what the idea was. Understanding? So my idea is that you have to have this basic clarity in your mind that how is economic planning going on. This is very much basic subject, but trust me, it is a very important subject in that sense we have to look into. हाँ जी, बेटे clear हो रहा है सबको? I am hopeful that each and everything is absolutely clear to you guys. ठीक है. Thank you, Raju. Thank you so much. Now you have to understand, for next 3 years, what we have seen is plan holiday. It was during the time of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. From 64 to 66, he was the Prime Minister, and unfortunately in 66 he passed away. And during his time, what we have observed is, we have observed this plan holiday. Okay. Anyway, so we are discontinuing the 5-year planning for 3 consecutive years. This is known as plan holiday. You got to understand. We have food crisis and we have a lot of inflation going on in the country, mainly because of the India-Pakistan war and India-China war. We have observed that. So remember this thing that we didn't set any target, but I can certainly assure you one thing, that we were focusing on green revolution. We were, focusing on high yield variety seeds. We are focusing on chemical fertilizers. So basically I can say a very strong base or foundation of green revolution was given. Foundation of green revolution was given in this particular plan holiday, which is quite important. This is certainly, one aspect we need to be looking at. ये समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? Very easy. So remember one thing, in this plan we are mainly focusing again on the agriculture part so that we achieve the self-sufficiency in the food. Because a lot of food grains in India were being imported, PL 480 program from US we were importing. So that was actually a bit of a problem we need to deal with. So ultimately, these are very basic things, but you got to understand that one has to battle these things, only then you can move ahead. Anyways, so now during this plan only, Lal Bahadur Shastri also passed away and we have new Prime Minister Indira Gandhi who came. We are focusing on the agriculture. I have told you, we are giving the foundation to the green revolution, which is very much important. This aspect is absolutely clear. So which should be the next 5-year plan? Now, next 5-year plan when we talk about, we are going to be having a 4th 5-year plan. Important. 4th 5-year plan we're going to have from 1969 to 1974. Indira Gandhi is of course the Prime Minister. 4th 5-year plan we are going to be talking about. Our focus is sustainable growth and self-dependence. That is the main focus. The target growth was 5.7%, but the actual growth was only 3.3%. Why? Why we were not able to achieve much? Because of again a war. We have India Pakistan war once again, that is of 1971. That is Bangladesh Liberation War. So 1971 में this Bangladesh Liberation War is happening, which is very much important. So that is why 4th 5-year plan is basically hampered, no doubt. But our focus was growth with stability. We need growth with stability. That is the main target. That is the main focus of this very plan. Understanding? Simple point hai. Very important thing happened in this plan. If you know, in 1969 onwards, we went for 14 banks nationalization. 14 banks were nationalized by Indira Gandhi government. So this bank nationalization is a very big highlight of this plan. Major banks were nationalized in India. So remember this thing, we were now focusing on the buffer stock so that there is, whenever the drought happens, we are having some backup, buffer stock, we are having some backup. This is important. Family planning programs are being introduced to make aware people that they should not have too many kids, because again, you can give, you can have a better quality of life if you have a balanced way to look at this. So these are the things they are focusing on, which is quite important. So remember this thing, that fourth 5-year plan, when we talk about, we have target growth 5.7, we are achieving 3.3%. 14 major bank nationalized 1969 onwards. India-Pakistan war, that is Bangladesh Liberation War, is happening, which is important. Family planning programs are being implemented, and buffer stock ka idea is there, which is quite important. I hope this basic aspect is absolutely clear, because we have to know about these things. One more thing, at times which can be a part of your prelims exam, drought prone area program. Drought prone area program we are also looking at in this, which is important. What we are looking at, drought prone area program, is again important. So we certainly need to be understanding this very aspect. Is that clear or not? So we have to understand the nitty-gritties which are involved anyways. So this is the idea we need to look into. And finally, we were doing well now, better than the before, but again a war spoiled the plans. Now we are talking of the fifth 5-year plan. Which plan? Fifth 5-year plan. It was drafted by D.D. Dhar. Great economist D.D. Dhar is the person who is drafting that. Now again, what is the main highlight of this 5-year plan? This is quite important. When we talk about this 5-year plan, no doubt it was from 1974 to 79, that was the plan. But in 1978, it was terminated because we saw a government change happening in 1978, that is Janata Party. So Janata Party came in and they are terminating this plan in 1978. So it worked for only 4 years. But again, the main highlight of the plan I need to talk about is Garibi Hatao. What is Garibi Hatao? Garibi means poverty, Hatao means remove. So removal of the poverty, or poverty removal, is the main objective of this plan. So at times a question comes that which plan was mainly focusing on the removal of the poverty, or which plan is focusing on the Garibi Hatao as the main focus. It is this particular plan. So need to understand that. समझ आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? सबको clear हो रहा है बेटे? So, and these things are, I would say, very much logical. They're not that difficult. So I hope it's absolutely clear. So ultimately, what is the target growth rate? 4.4% is the target growth rate. 4.4% is the target growth rate. We achieve around 4.7, 4.8%. That is what the idea is. Okay. So now Janata Party is coming in 1978 and they are terminating this very plan. We need to understand. Perfect. So till here, if you have any doubts, please do let me know. यहाँ तक तो clear है, कोई doubt नहीं है. At times they may be asking you one thing. Now again, if this question ever comes, it will be a very obscure question. But when we talk about, in India, national highways, they came up in which very plan? It was this plan. In the fifth 5-year plan, national highways is coming. Then we have minimum needs program we are focusing on. Minimum needs program basically for the poor people we are focusing on. So these are the things, minor things. But main was, of course, Garibi Hatao, removal of the poverty. Very important during this period we have seen. Got it? Very good, Shakir. Very good, Jagrup. Shabash. Now I would like to talk about the sixth 5-year plan. Now, this thing from 78 to 80, there is no plan because Janata Party is there. So from sixth 5-year plan, that is 1980 to 85, this is quite important. Indira Gandhi was back in the power and she came up with this thing. I would like to tell you the main highlight of this. Have you heard about the NABARD? Anyone? What is NABARD? Think about it. Very good, Swati. So whenever we talk about the NABARD today, we see that NABARD is a product of this plan only. This is quite important. So whenever we talk about the NABARD, it is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. I'll write over here. It is the National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development. Rural Development. And this bank was established back in 1982 during this plan, and there was a proper committee. Anyone who can guess the committee? It was Sivaraman Committee. On Sivaraman Committee's recommendation, we have seen that this body or this bank was established, which goes by the name of NABARD. It's still functional, very nicely functional. National Bank for Agriculture Rural Development, we see it is Sivaraman Committee. Important. At times direct question also comes. So anyways, 5.2% was the growth target, and we achieved 5.7%, which was amazing. We breached the growth target, which was great. So this is a very successful plan, and minimum needs program, we are focusing upon, we are basically focusing, and ultimately we are trying to take the legacy ahead. That is important. But we can't say, that was introduced. So certainly we cannot say that it has been introduced. So just hold on. No doubt, minimum needs program has been a top focus of this plan, but ultimately we certainly can't say that it was introduced. So ये थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना है इस चीज का. Perfect. So minimum needs program, it was a great continuation of the plan. We were continuing, which was introduced earlier. Family planning methods, they were adopted for the population control. That was the main focus. And main highlight is NABARD of 1982, which is being established. Remember this thing. Sivaraman Committee is very important. Sivaraman Committee is very, very important. So see, whenever you study anything, what is more important, you look at the highlights. Highlights are the most important thing, and if you know the highlights, you are good to go. As simple as that. है कि नहीं? So, my idea is that we have to understand the nuances, which are involved, and they certainly help you guys a lot. Okay. Now, we talk about the next 5-year plan. So, ये NABARD तो clear हो गया है. Whenever we talk about the 7th 5-year plan, that is of course important, the final plan for the day. Then I'll cover in the next class. 7th 5-year plan by day, 1985 to 1990. Why is it so much important? We have a new, young and dynamic Prime Minister whose name was Rajiv Gandhi. So Rajiv Gandhi, who is a young, enigmatic and dynamic Prime Minister, he is leading the country. We all know that after the death of his mother, Indira Gandhi. So during this plan, most of the plan, we have Rajiv Gandhi, and his focus will be what? His focus will be the new age things. What was the new age thing? Upgradation of technology. He focused on the upgrade of technology. ये आप ध्यान रखना. His focus is on the upgrade of technology. And that is the main idea we have. So growth rate target was 5%. We were able to achieve around 6%. So now that is amazing. 5.8 to 6%. So mainly you have to understand that our achievement is around 6%, which we have achieved, and we targeted only 5%, which is very good, considering the time period. And he is focusing on the upgrade of technology. That is what the main idea is. ये याद रखना है आपने. Very important this is. Getting it? So you have to understand this thing, that during this particular period, we are focusing on what? Social system based on equity, justice, equality, self-reliance, export promotion, all these things, new age things we are focusing upon. We have also self-dependence in the food grains. Now the food grain production was also increased. Why? We have great food grain production at this point in time because of the success of the green revolution, mainly in the states of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP. So we are seeing that as well. That is very much important. For all the people who have not hit the like button, make sure you hit the like button so that this video goes to your liked videos and you are able to revise it later on. Okay? So anyways, then after this plan, because of the volatile situation, we did not go for other plans. So we took a break of 2 years. Remember, after 7th plan, so for the 8th plan, we took a break. And in the next class, day after tomorrow, we'll talk about the LPG reforms. and tomorrow you don't have a class. Okay. So when you have a class day after tomorrow, that is Wednesday, on the same channel, Wednesday 12 p.m. make sure you tune up live for the part 2 of this class. For the part 2 of this class. This was a part 1, that would be the part 2. And I am hopeful that you have understood the nitty-gritties which we have discussed in this class. Whatever I've taught you in the class, you have to be revising that. That is very much important. That's the main idea. That's a drill. Thank you, Raju. Thank you, Manav. Thank you so much. So see, you guys always give so much support. That's why we bring up with so much, interesting sessions. Thank you, Sunil, so much. Thank you, Kunal. Okay, so ultimately, my idea is to give you the best over here. ये एक बेसिक आइडिया है. हाँ जी विनायक, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका. So I hope you've understood what we've talked in the class, basic things, that whatever is associated with which plan for that matter, we need to know that. Okay, you have learned something productive today. That's great. So I would request you guys make sure you come to the classes at 12 p.m. 12 बजे जो live classes at 12 p.m. live on this session ना, I clear all your doubts also. And part 2 is going to come on the Wednesday, not tomorrow. Wednesday we'll have a part 2 of this class. Make sure you let your friends know, and do subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Do hit the like button so that this video goes to your liked videos and you can later on revise that. Kutima Divu, thank you so much. So this is a channel IAS Origin, and here we always talk about the concepts, the important things, and exam oriented topics only. That is what the basic idea is. So thank you so much. It was great having this class. I hope you have a great day, and I see you all day after tomorrow, that is Wednesday 12 p.m. sharp. We are going to continue with this topic part 2. We'll conclude this topic. Thank you so much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.